Hello everyone, welcome to another Non-Horsey Parent podcast episode. You'll notice I'm again without Alex, but I do have another special guest, and the special guest is Steve!
Hello folks.
Steve, you're not a horsey, are you?
Not at
Can
all.
confirm you're
Can
not a horsey.
confirm.
What involvement do you have with horses, if any?
My partner has a pony for his son.
Yeah.
She's had her for about 6 or 7 years now. So
I've seen you leading Scoffy around. You have touched a horse, but no, we can confirm that you have no horsey background. No. I had my mum on the last episode, and mum is very horsey, and we very nearly had arguments about all the things that I was saying. So it's good that won't happen. And you're being taken to Badminton horse trials.
I am for my first day out at Badminton.
Are you excited?
I am very excited.
Okay. So I'll give you a quick rundown of what eventing is, and then a bit what you can expect and how you can sound like you know what is going on at the time, so that you don't feel like you're the only one sat there like, what is going on?
Okay.
So eventing as a sport began in France at Championnat de Cheval d'Armes, which I'm sure a lot of French people are going to have issues with my pronunciation. But it was basically designed to be a test for cavalry horses. So you have the first phase is dressage, which is the horse dancing thing that everyone's seen from London 2012, where we won all the medals. That tests the horse's obedience and its elegance for parading for the army. And then you have cross country, which is galloping as fast as possible at solid fences, and that tests the horse stamina and bravery over solid obstacles. And then you end with the show jumping, which is jumping a bit slower over coloured poles, and that tests the horse's agility and further tests its stamina because they're tired from the cross country. And it also tests the rider's nerves because that's when the placings are decided, and that decides who wins. Badminton horse trials, the biggest of pretty much all horse events. Again, I feel like people are going to take issue with me on that, but it's the biggest of all horse events. It's bigger than the Olympics because having a horse that will do the height and has the skill to get to badminton is such a big deal. It's something you can pretty much only do if you're based in the UK or in Europe. Mm-hmm. So, and most other nationalities that you'll see competing at badminton, so like the Kiwis and the Aussies, most of them are based here, and that's why they manage it. But it's such a tough track, it would be unfair test for people who don't have access to the quality of courses to practice over that we have here. We're quite lucky. Many consider badminton to be the toughest of all of the 5-stars. There are 7 5-star competitions globally. We've got 2 of them, and most people think badminton's the hardest. Even if you don't think it's the hardest, it's one of the most prestigious. Like, everyone wants to win badminton. And you're really seeing the best of the best competing. It started in 1949 because Britain did so poorly at the 1949 Olympics that the Duke of Beaufort, whose family run the estate, decided we needed more practice. So it started the event.
I had no idea. I didn't know it was descended from cavalry.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
It started off with a reason for it, and now we just do it for fun, apparently. So what day are you going on? You're going on a Sunday, aren't you?
We're going on Sunday, yeah.
Okay, so the competition runs from Thursday all through Sunday, and you have 2 days of dressage, which is the boring bit. So if you go on the dressage days, you can walk the cross-country course, and you can do a bit of shopping if you don't want to watch, which a lot of people don't. And if you... Hang on, read what I've actually written. So you can go and walk the course, look at the fences, work out how enormously big they are, and then it'll make watching the next day, if you're dragged in to watch, it'll make it a bit more manageable, and you'll have a bit more appreciation for what they're actually doing.
Okay, fair enough.
They have a horse inspection at the start of the competition on the Wednesday and on the Sunday morning, so after the cross-country round, which is basically where vets have a look at the horses and make sure they've still got 4 legs, 2 eyes. They're not holding one 6 feet off the floor because it's dead. The dressage will likely be a bit dull compared to the London Olympic stuff. A lot of people watch that and I'm like, oh my god, dressage is amazing, and then they'll go to eventing dressage and be like, this is rubbish. That's basically, it's just not as impressive as pure dressage because the horses themselves can't support the musculature to do all the fancy movements because they've then got to gallop as fast as they can at big solid obstacles.
I didn't know that either.
So it just looks a bit duller. But if you buy a radio set for radio set that's tuned into Radio Badminton, the commentary from Pammy Hutton is always hysterically funny. Like, you'll be sat around the arena, and if you take your earphone out, there'll be silence, and then they'll just, half the audience will laugh all together. And it's because Pammy said something funny, and the whole of the other half of the audience who don't have a radio set are just like, what? It's well worth it. And it will help you feel like you know what's going on, because you'll hear Pammy and probably Carl Hester or someone else either making fun of the riders or gossiping about the riders or lots of other things. It's well worth it. Definitely try to see a couple of tests, but don't worry about sitting through everything. It's acceptable to, like, even lots of horsey people watch a couple, will go and do some shopping, walk the course, which is definitely worth it. And then we'll come back and watch a couple and then go and get some lunch. Like, it's fine. If you're going on a Saturday, you're going to watch cross country, which is the most exciting phase to watch if you aren't a horsey. Arguably, if you are a horsey as well, most people go. It's the most popular day. The horses have to go through the flags of each obstacle without knocking one down, which results in penalties, and basically as fast as possible. The size and complexity of the fences has to be seen to be believed, and you need to bear in mind that the horses, the riders have walked the course and know where they're going and what's going on. The horses are just reacting to whatever is in front of them, and many of the fences you can't see what's on the other side, so the horses are literally just jumping into midair with no idea what's going to happen. If you listen to Radio Badminton commentary, try to see some of the horses at every fence and then retire to the big screens, because you'll see more anyway. And you'll get to sit with a coffee or some food or chips or something. The best watching fence is normally the lake, which is big, massive lake in front of the house, beautiful views. But it's normally about 5 to 6 people deep, so you want to get there early if you want a good view. I wouldn't be tempted to bring a dog. Steve has Biscuit, his terrier, on his lap, because Biscuit's a big cuddler. Biscuit, I'm going to advise that you don't come. You'll end up regretting it, and it's just an additional stress, because if you drop the lead, there's nothing worse than finding your dog halfway around the cross-country course chasing a horse, and then you get a big telling off.
And it's all televised, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, that wouldn't be good.
Yeah, there's lots of 4-letter word involved. I'm not going to say now, but I feel like you can put the two together. Yes. The Sunday, which is the day you're going, is the show jumping day. Okay. So they work out the scores from the dressage and the cross country, and then they'll reverse the order. So you'll start with the person who's last, and they'll jump round, and then all the way. So the last 20 horses are normally televised back at home on the red button, but you can feel, being in the arena for that, you can feel the tension. Even if you're not a horsey, you'll feel the tension. It is very exciting. If you are a horsey, that's probably the best day to go, because it's the most exciting. But, you know, if you're not, like, you'll still appreciate it, because you'll still feel that atmosphere. Show jumping is pretty self-explanatory. They have to jump over the poles. If they hit one, they get penalties. If they stop at one, they get penalties. And if they go too slowly, they get penalties. That's the easiest way to explain it. It really, like, things, you knock a pole and you can go down 10 places. It's really exciting. We lost. The Germans were in gold medal position with the World Equestrian Games, and they lost it because their last rider knocked the last fence and literally just tapped it and the pole fell. It was an incredible moment to be a Brit, because we won the gold, but not great to be a German. Some tips for getting there on the day. Mm-hmm. Be prepared to be stuck in traffic for about half an hour, 40 minutes on your way in. That's just what happens. You know, there are lots of people trying to get into the same place, and you can wiggle around the back roads as much as you want. You'll probably still get stuck in traffic. You might be tempted to try and get there before the traffic, but you can tune into it. Like, I wouldn't worry, to be honest. It means you'll get there at 7 o'clock in the morning or something ridiculous. Once you're within like a couple of miles of the event, you can tune into Radio Badminton, and they'll keep you up to date with what's going on as you crawl in. Okay. Don't take a dog, as I said. Sorry, Biscuit. Take lots of changes of clothes, because you'll probably get all the seasons in a day. It'll rain and it'll be boiling hot, and you'll end up carrying a million layers, but you'll be fine. Take lots of snacks. Okay. which is my main thing, just because I'm a big fan of snacks. There is really good food there, but they always have really long queues.
Okay.
But I mean, it's a good food. And if the food trucks have horrifically long lines, there's I think it's a Country Life marquee, but I'm not 100% sure, and I don't want to get it wrong. But there's like a food marquee as you walk in, and the stuff in there is so good. We always come away with like packs of sausages. They had pheasant goujons, like deep fried pheasant last year, which was really good. And there's so good. And there's a place called, I think it's called the Fudge Kitchen, and the best salesman works there I've ever met in my entire life. Like, I've gone up just for free samples with no money on me, and he's had me like clawing together pennies out of my bag just to get one bit of fudge. And I can recommend their dark chocolate and sea salt fudge. It's the best thing ever. Like, it's so good. Really, like you think it's going to be terrible, and you think you're like, no, I won't want it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I bought like 3 slices last year because they had a deal on. Yeah, he's very good at getting you to part with money.
Sounds wonderful.
Have you got any questions so far?
No, not at the moment.
I did try to be really organised with what I was putting in.
No, you've given a lot of information.
Yeah, it's a bit of I mean, it will be on the podcast, so you can listen to it.
While I'm going around listening to Pemmy as well.
Yeah, you can listen to it on the drive down, and then you'll know what's going on. And then I've got a bit of a cheat sheet for you. So just in case you feel like you want to drop in some facts and sound like you know 100% what's going on. Some people to look out for, basically. So, I mean, equestrianism as the sports as a whole are like massive advocate for equality. Like, you compete against people of all different ages, all different genders, different races. Like, there's no boundary against who. Like, I've been competing against Olympians since I was 14 years old, and not doing badly either. For those of you who think it's a sport that's still populated by people who are like the upper classes, people who are rich, I would advise you to keep that opinion to yourself on the day, because it's not true. There are no better advocates for how egalitarian eventing is than the Prices. So the Prices are Janelle and Tim Price. They're Kiwis. They came over in 2005, and they are like, we're going to interview them when we're there. And I'm so excited. I've been such a big fan of both of theirs for so long. They moved over in 2005 because the eventing scene is much better here than it is over in New Zealand. And they were the first husband and wife to appear on the same Olympic team in history, I think. They've worked literally from the ground up. Janelle, over in New Zealand, she had to sell her top horse so that she could bring another one over to compete at Burghley. The horse got travel sick, so she didn't manage to actually compete and had to fly home. And then she sold basically everything she had in order to facilitate both of them moving over here. Janelle and her horse Classic Moe, they're the reigning champions from last year, and they're just about the fastest combination you will see going around a cross-country course. They are like nothing else. The partnership they have is incredible. I'm so excited to interview her. Tim's competing off the back of he came third at Kentucky a couple of days ago. Kentucky's one of the other 5-star competitions, but it's over in the US, so he's
just come back.
Yeah, he's probably still gonna be jet lagged, but is riding. And they're just as a pair.
Do horses get jet lagged?
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah, but I think they recover quite a lot quicker than we do.
Okay.
Because they're not trying to. They're just going with whatever the light's doing. But they'll be so easy to spot, because once Janelle gets in the start box, all the commentary will be like, Janelle's here. Oh. But she is like, definitely make sure you're keeping an eye out, because she is one amazing lady cross country. Something easy to spot will be Harry Mead, who I work for. He's riding a big white horse, easy to spot. It's called Spot, actually. And he'll be wearing white cross-country colours when he goes cross-country. But big white horse, it's most likely going to be him. When he does show jumping, he'll be in a red coat, which not many people do. It's called a hunting pink because it's a hunting jacket. I don't know why they call it a pink jacket, but they do. I'm sure someone will write in and tell me. If you really, really want to sound like you know what you're talking about, it's very in detail, but mention that the 15 penalty rule. So if you knock a flag over, even with your foot, they've changed the rule so you now get 15 penalties if you knock a flag over. If you really want to sound like you know what's going on, you mention that the 15 penalty rule will be highly influential at badminton because of the complexity designed into the course by Eric Winter, who's the course designer. Harry has been vocally opposed to this rule pretty much since it came in, not least because he fell foul of it at Belton, which is a competition earlier this year, where his horse was like bang on jumping the fence absolutely fine, and he knocked the flag with a foot and he got 15 penalties for it. And since then, he's very much not a fan of this rule. I mean, I think pretty sure he wasn't a fan before, but it hasn't helped that he was fell foul of it.
Is 15 penalties an instant disqualification?
No. So you can have up to like 765 penalties, I think. But by the time you get to that bit, you're out anyway.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
You're gone. So Harry thinks that having this rule means you have to ride in a really defensive way, making sure that you're on exactly the right line, and it's kind of against the ethos of the sport because the sport was designed to be a test for bravery and for attacking riding and for like seeing a spot and just going for it, and it makes you ride too carefully. If anyone has any more questions or wants more detail, then either email the podcast at theponypod@gmail.com, or even better, if you email Harry directly, because I don't have the time and he knows a lot more than I do. And I'm sure he'll be thrilled that I've told everyone to email him. But, never mind. The last one to keep an eye out for, and only because I love her so much, I haven't worked... So we worked at the same yard, but we didn't cross over, and she's amazing. She's one of my favourite people. Is Ellen Cameron. So she's a first-timer, which is why you made that face. She's a first-timer at this level. She's based locally, but she's originally from Scotland. She bought her horse as a 2-year-old and backed it and did everything, and has been kind of merrily making her way up the levels with reasonable success. By her own admission, they interviewed her for Horse and Hound, and she was basically like, yeah, we're not going to be there for a placing, but we're going to be there, which is the main thing. Oh. So she's not going to worry the leaders. She's there for the completion and for the joy of doing it. But I think she's the best example I can think of. To everyone who wants to get started in the sport, you don't need millions of sponsors, you don't need a yard full of horses. You can do it yourself, just plug away, work hard, all of that. And she's also a big fan of the podcast. We will be absolutely begging her to be on after badminton to tell us about what it was like being a competitor and what she learned, and just tell us everything. And that's pretty much everything. That's everything that I have. I feel like I've just been talking for a long time.
It was very interesting. There's a lot of information, which I'll be sure to incorporate into random conversations on Sunday. Especially the 15 penalty rule. I found that
it's quite good because you just need to, it's like if someone mentions what the course looks like, you can just be like, oh yes, the 15 penalty rule will be very influential. And you will, it's been a hot topic of conversation, so that will big brownie points for doing that.
And also tune into
Pammy Hutton for the dressage. You turn it on and you're like, oh my god, this is going to be so boring. They're hysterically funny. They're so funny and so rude. So rude. But just, it absolutely makes it so good. And also, another reason to tune into Radio Badminton, the podcast is going to be on.
Of course, the podcast is going to be on.
Which,
not that I'd want to hear myself.
Yeah, not that we're not thoroughly overexcited about it. We've told everyone about a million times, we have press passes, and we are basically just going to be running around going, look at the boss, look at the boss, look at the boss, look what I've got. We've got quite a lot planned, but mainly it's just going to be overexcitement about the fact that we have a pass that says journalist. Because we're journalists.
Is that access all areas?
No, but I will have a stable band, hopefully. Maybe not. But I might have a stable band that I can get in and help Jess out with spot for. So I will have everything covered. I will be ready.
You've gone to great lengths.
I have gone to great lengths. You know what? I deserve it after everything I've been through. Thank you so much for letting me talk at you.
You're very welcome. It was very interesting.
I hope all of you guys have found this useful, interesting. Do message us and let me know if I've talked too much, because we will be doing more of these for different events, and all the feedback you can give us will be amazing, and I'll tailor it to whatever you want pretty much. Next time I'll get Steve to do the introduction. I'll just give Steve all the information. You can read it out.
I'll just read it back to you.
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoy badminton as much as I'm sure we're going to. And if you see us there, like, just stop us, ask us questions. Like, we'll be more than happy to chat to anyone and everyone, as I have. We're running a competition on the Instagram, so you guys look, tell your kids to look, everything. They can win a Lick It starter kit, which apparently are very, very popular. All right, thanks so much for listening. All right, bye.